and influences. Got it. From both the American jazz standards and the Eastern European romantic piano composers. And I know that Mr. Phillips said that you can see the score. I was up very, very late last night trying to get something that's vaguely close to the piece, so you'll notice a lot of errors in the score. It's very ugly, and it does not convey my musical intentions at all. But if you want to use it, proceed with caution. So this piece is called Song for a Lost Love. I sincerely hope that you enjoy it. Hang on one sec, I'll get as much of the hands as little of the face. Is that good? All right.
Yes, got
Brilliant.
it.
All right, so this is Song for a Lost Love.
Guess we have applause. All right, that was beautiful. That
Thank
I
you.
mean, from compositional standpoint, I'm not a composer. I'm just listening to it as a musician, as a person. That's beautiful. Definitely
Thank you
have
so
a
much.
gift for that. How old are you? Just out of curiosity.
I'm 19.
19. That's amazing. Honestly, like musically speaking, you poured your heart out. That's for sure. Like it's your piece and you really like performed it really well. I wouldn't say, I can't really think of anything that I would correct or suggest musically, honestly, because it's also new and you wrote it, right? So, and I haven't had a chance to
Sure.
like play it myself and sort of maybe play around with phrasing or whatever. There are a couple of places where I see what you were trying to do, and I was like listening to it, and it sort of made me look at how you're playing that I think will improve mostly from the technical standpoint. This was around, I'm sure you know your piece, but I think it was in around measures in the 20s when you have those like, you have melodies at the top. No, 30s, and you have an inner voice that you're playing that's like ascending, and you have a melody that's descending on the top in quarter notes. I think it starts at
Okay.
32.
I have no idea what the measures are. Is it?
No, it's not in a bass. It's in a top. Like you have an F ringing, and then you have F G A sharp. Maybe if you see it, maybe you'll kind of know what I'm talking about. Sort of
Sure.
there.
Wait, could you?
It
I'm sorry.
ha-
Could you do
oh,
that one
I'm
more time?
sorry. Yeah, it's somewhere like in this area where you have like the quarter note melodies, and then you have like these inner voice that's constantly moving. Yeah. Yeah, and similar
Sure.
things you
Okay.
do with the basses. When I was listening
Right.
to it, that inner voice, it would be so beautiful. It was like really, really legato, very, very flowy as the top was just ringing. But the way you're playing it in the right hand is not going to let you do it because I think you're even using the same finger on a lot of the notes.
Yes.
I wouldn't do it that way. Like it's so
Sure.
pretty and when on a really advanced level when you're listening to it, when people repeat the fingers, you could tell that it's like more da 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 da
Absolutely.
da da. So see if you can also incorporate alternating. So super super legato, like cascading
Sure.
notes.
Um,
Maybe it might be hard to do on the spot. Give it a shot, but
I'll
you
give
know,
it a try.
work out. Okay.
Uh, what's the worst that can happen?
Yeah, you
I'll
messed
try to
up.
do it. I'll try to do it slow. Oh wait, it's
See how
six.
that was
Okay.
all index finger, right?
I know what you're
Yeah.
saying.
Of course, you have a lot of things to keep track of. You have the top melody, you have a bass, and you have this inner voice that's moving. And you only got 4 fingers. So there might be places where you'll have to repeat a finger. If you have to repeat one, try to do them before a paired note. So if you have something that's coming up with the bass and you just don't have enough, you might play M and then PM or I and then PI. But if it's individual notes, just single notes, those are places where you want to alternate because they'll link so
Sure.
much better. You
Do you
will
think
be,
it would be more
yeah.
appropriate? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, no, go ahead. What was the question?
Do you think it would be more appropriate if I played the melody with the A finger, just one finger, and then tried to alternate the bottom
Yes.
voice?
Yeah, that would be the best. Were you not doing that? Were you not using the A finger for the melody all the time?
No, I was using M for the
Ah.
melody and I for the
Oh, okay. Maybe that's why it sounded like that because I also noticed your hand was like this most of the time, and that was going to be my other suggestion. A lot of times when I was just looking at your right hand, your index finger was kind of like that. I don't know. Now I understand you're probably like trying to skip the strings in between the 2 fingers. The problem with this is that it creates tension in your hand. If you
That
can,
does.
I would use my A finger for the melody, and they're far enough away from each other, they're quarter notes, where you can totally link those together, and then free up a finger basically to play that inner voice with an alternation.
Okay.
It's a really pretty place, and it's a lot of things to keep track of. And that middle voice has to have that all of the fluency, the phrasing of following the contour. And I could hear like you're trying to do that musically, but physically it wasn't letting you. Like you're hopping on one foot most of the time.
Certainly. To increase Sorry, I'm just taking notes.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Got that.
So I'm just pointing out that location, but there's other places that are similar. When you have that
Yes.
thing in the bass, you're gonna use your thumb. That's totally fine. You just have to try. Like I think that happens a few, I don't know, 10 measures before that when you have, again, the melody at the top and your bass is doing a similar line.
Yes.
That I would use the thumb for the bass. Just try to be as legato as you humanly can with the thumb. But I wouldn't try to alternate that stuff because a lot of times you'll get scrapey sounds on the bass notes if you try to do it. So
Right.
designate whatever finger you want for the melody. You can alternate the top if it's more comfortable, but use the bass, the thumb for the bass. So that's fine. Now,
That makes sense.
continuing from where we stopped. So let's say you played that section we just talked about, alternating the fingers. And then you come into a place where you have a repeated B at the top. And then you have a repeated G. Like it's basically the phrase after that. Do you know where it is?
Sure. The B flat.
Yeah. So can
I
you
assume the same
phrase
principle
it? Yes.
applies?
No. Well, yes, sure, physically that too. But when you're playing it, the B sounded very monotonous, and maybe that was your intention, but it kind of sounded flat. I think you can
Sure.
shape it dynamically for that B to have some kind of direction to change dynamics as you're doing the bottom part. Do something. I think someone's microphone is on. Some kind of background noise is back. But anyway, if you have a microphone unmuted, please mute it again. Who's not talking. The B is just, it sounded like da 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 without any shape to it. B flat, my bad. If you can shape it. Uh-oh. Are you there?
I'm here.
Oh, okay. Your video just switched to somebody else. Okay. I'm glad. Try to play that and shape the melody as if it's like the only thing you're playing in accordance.
Sure.
Yeah, like
That makes eminent sense. Sure.
yeah, that's so much better already because when you first played it, it just was laying there flat.
Very flat. Very flat.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
And same thing's gonna happen with the G that you're playing later. Same idea. So can you put that into context right from there and then
Sure.
continue playing? What's your fingering for this? So I interrupted you, but what's your fingering
Oh,
for
sure.
that? I would
I
more
have no idea.
like you know how you're playing the first chord is 3 notes, PIA, let's say. If you're playing it on, yeah, I would do PIA. And then I would do like PMI, 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 so that there is an alternation on the B. So designate a finger that you're going to play with the bass note, and then a finger that's going to play the middle single B flats.
Okay. So.
Yeah. Then you'll have so much more control over that B than if you try to play it with one.
Sure. That makes a lot of
Yeah.
sense.
Sometimes people might want to use the same finger because they want to match the sound. Let's say you're getting two different
That's
kinds.
what I was doing. Yeah.
Just work on your sound so that every single one of your fingers can create an identical sound to the next. Technically speaking, if you have to have total control over your hands, every single finger should have one sound so that you're not limiting yourself like, oh, I need the M kind of sound, so I'm going to use M. Make sure your I also sounds like M. So
That's a good idea.
that's just so you have your hand like a tool that does everything, and then you're not limiting yourself.
Okay.
And
makes sense.
alternating, like also for other pieces and everything, you're gonna have so much more speed if you're alternating between two, and so much more freedom legato wise.
Certainly.
Sound wise, don't fall into that. That's a limitation. Like if you have to do it with one finger, just work on the sound quality.
Avoid that. Absolutely. Happy to do that.
Yeah, I think that's really like a few things that I was listening to that I was like, okay, everything's beautiful, but that could improve. The arpeggios, the sextuplet ones that you're doing later on, or is it, I guess,
Yes.
sextuplets. See if you can get like a little bit nicer sound when you're getting really fast. This was like towards the end, you're getting more and more intense. Can you play that?
Sure.
Can you
Sure.
get it-
Are we talking about the one that resolves to the G7 or the C?
It was the one before the fast scale.
Okay. Okay, that's the one with the
They
C.
kind of apply to all
Right.
of them. Yeah, but I remember because
Sure.
it's more and more intense, and then you play the chord and you play the scale.
Right. Yes, I
The
know I
sounds
was
better
going
if you
to a
don't have.
slightly sharper tone color, but I think that my finger movements also weren't doing me any favor. So I'll try to play it a
Get
bit
it
more.
from wherever is comfortable. Yeah.
I'll try it this way just as an experiment.
Yeah, that's better. That was already better. Now, you can go brighter. There is a difference between like playing bright here. What was the chord on that?
Just to see. Yeah,
When and where are you? What are you, the notes that you're changing to?
C, F minor, C.
No, that's not what you did. Wait, wait.
Just to C major chord. C. You have to do a bar.
Okay. Oh, okay, that's what. Right, so there's a difference if you come here. If I also do a little bit of this, like more perpendicular, it's a kind of really brighter sound.
Right.
But I can be Ponticello and keep the angle the same. And it's still bright, but it doesn't have like that harshness to it, the edge, unless you want the edge. But to me, this sound is not attractive, like this perpendicular, snappy one.
Certainly.
It can still be bright, but still have the same point of contact of, angled, which most of the time you're getting a beautiful sound. And make sure it doesn't get tense. Right, so when you're playing, so it's the same, individual notes are very, very clean, and you don't get like this jump. You don't want that to sound like, let's see if I can. That sounds difficult, like because I'm allowing this to rip instead of controlling. Where every note is heard, it's bright, but it's not. And this is a spruce. My other guitar, I can't even get the sound out of it because it's a darker guitar. So even if I tried, I wouldn't be able to get that bright sound. But you play a spruce too, so you need to control it, like the sound. It'll listen to you. If you go bright, it will give you bright. So
Right.
yeah,
So,
but again,
okay.
if you want that sound, that's different, right? Like some people really, that's what I want. I want that really.
I preferred the way you were doing it to the way I was doing it. I mean, of course, it was also far more even and just smoother than mine, but I also preferred the 10.
Speed with those arpeggios, it's not slow like what you're doing. It's pretty fast. You just as you go really fast and loud, make sure you don't allow it to
The
like.
tone was,
Yeah.
yeah, yours was definitely better. So,
It has a little bit of a limp to it. It sounds like the IMA going forward. It's a little bit
Sure.
faster than the return.
maybe I should practice that slower.
Yeah, you would have to practice it slower, sure, and work up to it.
Sure, that should be easy enough to
Because you're at
practice.
the high end of the arpeggios. It's just that you need to make sure you're controlling it so it doesn't start to fall apart.
Absolutely.
So those are really like it. The scale thing. This is obviously your composition. I'm wondering, let's say, if somebody else played it, would you be opposed if they actually played all the notes instead of slurring it? Because if you think, like, if you could, like, play that scale, that speed, but play every single note, would that be something intensity-wise?
Okay, so I'll answer the question the best way I can. Because you basically asked two questions. So the first question, would I be opposed to someone else playing the scale, or even for that matter, extending it further, the piece differently than me? No. My general stance on that issue is if you, and of course there are plenty of things I'm looking to change in my own interpretation. But if you want to hear the way I would play the piece, listen to me play, listen to my recording, and if you want to hear someone else here, let them do whatever they want. Would I? Now, I'll be the first to admit my AMI scales are absolutely garbage, but would I do it even if I could?
That's what
As of today, no. I was looking for the single gesture that you don't get with each articulated note. I wanted it to sound more like a cascading piano scale, where it's more of a single line rather than like a flamenco
like a
scale.
harp, like sort of, you just, like on a harp, if you
Exactly.
across. Okay.
Exactly. So that was what I was looking for. That said, I don't think I did the greatest job of controlling my right hand to get that clear dynamic gesture, because I could hear notes popping out and things like that.
Yeah, so sometimes, like, I realize when something